Alright, so we're rocking and rolling, boys. Alrighty. We got Potsy and George. George is back. This is his second, and this is Reece is popping his cherry for his first podcast.
First ever.
First ever. Nice. So we guess checking in with George. Last time we talked to him on propane, but this year new team. Got the first World Cup done, and Potsy's been revising his World Cup stats. So you've got all the times from the last one, right?
Yeah. No, I definitely don't.
Nah, you're all good.
I've just been riding the bike park, living the dream.
He's a media guy these days.
But yeah,
media builder.
You might have also, if you didn't know Potsy already from his own videos, him and George, the last video you guys did was together, wasn't it?
It was actually, yeah.
So it was just came
So
out the last
one with Paul Rayner, just up around the bike park in Queenstown and in Cardi's, and it was like a shred-it kind of style one, well filmed, and then I don't know however much, like 15 minutes or so of behind the scenes. So
it's
it was
cool.
quite a laugh.
Kind of touch base on like what goes into actually filming a shred-it. Everyone watches like a 3-minute edit, and you kind of like, oh, that was cool, but like how much actually goes into some of like the gaps and stuff. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna do it. You kind of work
There's
your
a
way
lot
up.
of questioning and thinking about it.
Yeah, especially on yours.
And I enjoyed doing it with George because you've actually got somebody else like talk about, like when you're on your own, you're just like kind of like, oh shit, I hope I'm on the right track here.
That's true, actually.
George was like, oh,
sure.
You can go first, George.
But it was good to have like a bit of one up because you had the speed camera as well.
Yeah,
was it a
was
speed
fun,
camera or does
actually.
it have like two lasers? How does it work?
I don't know. It's some sort of a sensor that it picks up as you're coming towards it, and it just picks up your speed. I guess it tracks you from a certain point, probably like a few meters out, and then obviously by the time you get there, it's like, I don't know how it calculates it, but yeah, it just looks at you and it picks your speed up.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Have you still got it?
Yeah.
Still got it. I don't even. Oh no, it's in my room. Yeah.
We're gonna have to
Should have got it up for the
World
Wakatipu
Champs.
World Champs.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna
it
say
would've
we
been-
need to
'cause
steal
if you're not,
it.
if you're not
Yeah.
going to win, you've got to win the speed trap at least.
Where could have we put that? There would have been definitely a spot.
Coming down the rowdy
Shoot.
corners before the down the rowdy chute. Sorry, before that last
Just
corner.
the far, into the right hand.
Asking for a crash. You could put it somewhere up the top too.
Well, we got the road crossings aren't that exciting though. Maybe actually after the first road crossing, you got the triple down,
And then
then that jump, and then into that.
exactly
little
what I was going to say. I was like, it's asking to just go to flat and have a hughie.
Yeah.
But,
Anyway,
yeah,
That's probably the fastest bit on that track, maybe.
I'd say so. I nearly
Or
I
the
don't
bottom.
remember my race round.
Or the final place could have been just before the finish line off into that flat turn, maybe off the ski jump.
That would have been quite cool. Yeah.
I'm going to make a confession, guys. I actually didn't race. And I
No,
was
did I.
extremely jealous. All the footage, I was like, it looked so good. But
I had to work. I
yeah.
was gutted as well.
True.
I was
Yeah,
kinda
that's
COVID
like, I remember
stitched me
seeing you on the list, and then I seen you lifting bikes. So I was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, you guys got lucky.
Yeah, that was.
Next year, I gave George a chance this year,
Yeah.
so I'll
fair enough.
be back in 2023.
Gave Finn a chance. Finn
Oh,
did.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Close, though.
we had to give him a few.
He was hooking. Good on him.
Yeah, it was actually run pretty quick. His video down the bottom was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw that, but I saw something briefly on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hooking.
But he seemed pretty confident before. Confidence is key, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. He goes good on that stuff, especially like good on everything, but he loves the steep shit.
Yeah. He's
I
definitely.
kind of wish you
real
guys
good,
got a bit of rain, to be honest, like Crankworks.
Yeah.
That's when it's fun to watch.
Yeah, you didn't race Crankworks,
ride,
did you?
though.
What did you
Nah, I heard it was still good to ride, but people were just frothing it this year. With
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just being dry. It was like not dry though. It was just like it was just tacky and soft. It was like almost soft, dusty, but like not dust.
Well, we'd gone over the whole
Sick.
track because it hadn't rained for over a month, and we went down the whole track and left it closed, and we actually picked pretty much every fresh section because the rut from Crankworks was like about 4-inch deep the whole way down.
Oh my god!
So we literally picked the whole track, and I was like, "It's going to rain before next race," and it did. But then we were like closed for those couple of days because there was like a few issues, and then by the time everyone got to ride it again, it already dried up. So like I was expecting to get tyres on it to pack it in before the race, but then it.
Oh right.
So it was still pretty
I
pretty
think it
much
was
just
kind of
freshly
mean though.
picked.
It was sick because it was just soft. It was like you're riding like this
Groomed moto track.
just sick loam. Yeah, it was like that. It was like dust, but like heavy sort of. Yeah, it was. Oh. I was frothing.
Yeah, so it was good actually. I was listening to a podcast ages ago with Sam Dale and something, and he was saying it would be awesome if somebody just took a pick down a track before World Cup, just grub the whole thing so it was fresh. And I was like, so that's pretty much what we did. We pretty much grubbed the whole track.
If you could have like, obviously like with roots and rocks and shit, you couldn't just bring like those little hand rotary hose, but in some sections you could. I remember in Leo Gang when I used to froth it was points when they just had, for a start they had the tape like more wide open, but they had like some fresh sections. Like there was this one right after the first tunnel, and you like come off this little like turning drop, and then it was just like this real like 3 meters wide, where they've just like, it's like they just like ripped it all up with a rotary hoe, and then left it for the race, and it was like dead smooth, but it was real soft, and everyone was like, oh, it's so shit, it's like so easy. And then by the end of practice day, it was just had big holes and ruts, like soft ones, and everyone was frothing. I was like, that's what they should always do, I reckon.
Like with World Cups as well, you can give, like, if you gave them like a blank canvas, everyone's riding so fast and like breaking all in quite similar points because everyone's on a kind of similar level.
Fully,
It gets so rough. The holes get massive. I reckon
that's fucking mean,
The main bit where we picked on that track was, so when you finished Blackbeard section, like the main chute, you crossed the road, you bypassed the step down over Thundergoat, and then after that there was a big left-hander, like big flat left. Because that was like 3 or 4 meters wide, and we just grubbed the whole corner. And so it was loose. Yeah,
that was sick.
Yeah, it
was that all rutted and buggered from?
The thing, well, it just had one rut. It was literally like, I think everyone on Crankbush race could only ride one line. There was just one rut, which everyone was riding. So
was it pretty loose? I'd never done that Crankworks, but
it was
pretty loose.
It was a trial practice and then race out just poured down.
I just felt sorry for the B practice guys. So they got like the worst conditions on the race day because they got like that early practice when it was like in that like peanut butter like crap.
Yeah.
And then we got it. My first practice lap was the hardest lap of the day, I thought.
Yeah,
because then it got so wet, it got grippy again.
As it rained, the water, because obviously when it's raining, all the mud's getting washed down the rut and out of the way. It was kind of all good, and then it stopped raining.
It was beautiful.
It was like horrible for like a few laps because it's got peanut butter, and then by the time we actually raced.
So it was horrible for B practice race
and rain.
And then when we got to our race, it was like
rideable.
Yeah, it was mint again.
It's funny. I reckon for World Cups they should even like, it's so hard when you've got limited amount of hill to use, but in those cases I reckon they should just, like you guys done, just go down with the pick and just rip it up and let the track just get tuned up by the riders and the lines form from that. But a lot of the time now you're riding like, you know, it was a natural trail, it's a natural section, but it's so packed in and just fucked. And
I don't reckon there's anything worse on a downhill track than a man-made rock garden. I'm never saying it.
I'm trying to think of any time I've ridden one that's been good.
No,
I don't think.
Because none of the guy building it is either picking lines through it himself, or he's doing the complete opposite and trying to make like Carl's dinner from Earthquake to like just absolutely fuck you over. So there's like never like a win-win situation. It's either like a super easy line that's obvious and there's no other line, or there's literally
it's just horrible. It's just flat tire central.
Yeah, just flat tire.
It's something that just never really works.
Kind of the same with
the hardest rock garden I've ever rode was the Cairns one in the wet. In the dry,
Alien Tree.
Oh, that was like the off-camera slippery shit after the main rock garden. It was just like, it was almost unrideable in the wet. I remember stopping there in like an elite practice, and even like all like the top boys would just come in, and you could see them just being like, all right, 100%, I'm committing this time. Boof, crash. You're like, oh no, I was making it through this in the wet. Like, no one was making it through. It was hectic. It was real slow though.
Yeah, the Alien Tree I stopped. Because I was like, it's like an off-camera section, and it's just off-camera clay into off-camera roots. And I was just like, this is impossible. And then typical Sam Hill came fast and made it look so easy. I was just like, are you serious? And then 2 riders later, Greg Minar came through and just made a complete squid of it. I was like,
I'll follow
he's
him.
Mortal. It's all good. I was just like,
nothing worse than following someone when you're scratching your head and everyone going through the section has just aced it and you're like, how can I go through this now until like somebody fucks it up?
That section was fucking hectic. Rock garden into Alien Tree, which are like back-to-back sections.
Once you got
out of control.
Yeah, because like once I got when I raced it, many moons ago.
Did you race
What
in
year
the
is that?
mud?
14?
Yeah,
15.
No, I was 14. And I was on a Banshee team I was on. They didn't have the bikes in time, so I borrowed a Trek off just, forgot their name, but it was very nice of them to lend me a Trek for this World Cup race. And it just rained the whole weekend. But like once you get past our entry, I was just like, sweet, I'm home. I'm all good from here.
Apart from the pedal, because remember there was just like like a jump flow section, then there was like an uphill.
Yeah.
And then went flat for a bit, and you basically stopped like at the top of the uphill and had to pedal through bog.
Yeah, and it was through the woods, and it's the first time like I've actually been in a race scenario, and you can just hear people like talking to you like quite just like usually it just blurs, but these guys are like, you're doing really good, and you're just like, I can hear you. I'm not going good. This is horrible.
That's what I was going to say. It's like that. There was people that would be like kind of like jogging next to you. And being like, good job, like, no, and you're like, like dying, and you're like just struggling, feet off, and like, don't look at me.
Give me a push.
Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, that one was so hectic. And then it was funny, like, I don't know if this was a year after, a couple of years later. The next time I went back, and it was dry, and that like uphill section to flat was like nothing. You just came hooking.
Yeah.
And then like even the bottom section, the bottom pedal to the finish, you came in way faster. It was nowhere near. It was still hard the last pedal, but nowhere near as physical.
Yeah,
the year in the moment.
The year I was there was the one.
Was that when
Brayton crashed? And somebody got on Brayton's bike and just had a massive one in the whoops.
That is like the best World Cup moment of all time. No helmet as well.
Just dropped on, and then I think Remy was sweeper, and he looped out on the whoops. There's a video of him. He was like came in hot, big manual, and then he looped out.
Was that Remy? I remember.
He's like wasn't even in junior. He's like under 17s.
That was
That's funny.
That's awesome. But how did old Mike get his bike? Was he just like, I'll take it to the bottom point?
I think he was actually being like,
good
politely.
person.
He wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna. Everyone's like, oh, he stole his bike. But I'm pretty sure he was like, oh, I'm gonna help you out. Like, I'll get your bike down. And then he would have been a few beers deep and be like, I'm gonna hit the wall.
No, I think what happened was he said he'd walk it down, and then the crowd egged him on to ride it. So the next one he was like, yeah, I'll ride it.
Who wouldn't?
Pushes it back up.
You would though. If you're getting charted, you're gonna be like,
yeah.
This is a nice downhill bike.
Especially rinsed as well. And then I think he was worse off than Brayden. Well, he was. He broke his neck and shit. Yeah. He was fucked.
I bet he doesn't regret it though. No. He would have regretted walking the bike down more than what he actually did.
Yeah, probably. Hectic, eh?
That was cool as well. It was like the first time like a new World Cup was on the circuit for ages too.
New old, yeah.
It was like new old, but like it was just me in a new location. It was just like warm.
Yeah, hopefully get back to the Southern Hemisphere as something different for a change soon. Sooner than later.
Well, what I was
Asia or something.
thinking would be good, and it sounds like there might be something similar with EWS, is you have like, say for like a World Cup series is like 15 rounds, so it's a lot more than what you're doing now, but 5 are in like Oceanias, so maybe one New Zealand, a couple in Aussie, or like, you know, same thing. And then you have 5 in Europe, 5 in America, and then you have like, so that allows like a privateer from New Zealand doesn't have to necessarily go to Europe to get recognition. He can just do 5 rounds, which is almost a full series anyway, like what it is now.
Pretty much.
So a privateer can do that, and then he might from that pick up points to go. He'll get the recognition anyway, and he doesn't necessarily have to go. But then he could still go to Europe and do a trip, but then he gets at least like 10 rounds.
And he'll still be competing against the pros because they obviously do all of them. So he'll get a gauge of where he's.
So you'll have the top teams.
I think they want to make it more international now anyway. So as everyone probably knows by now that Discovery is taking over the broadcast rights, but they also have the rights to pick and choose where all the races are. It's not UCI anymore.
What? That's awesome.
Oh, really?
Okay, and I think it was Eddie was saying
Madagascar. Discovery. It can be like a World Cup and like a nature show.
I want.
So what I understand is they
Warner
want
and
to make
Attenborough in the booth together as well.
Warner
and David Attenborough. So here we have George Brannigan dropping in for his run.
He's in his natural element.
Bit of contrast there, eh?
Sorry, what were you going to say?
So what I understand is they want to make it a bit more international. So I feel like they've got the resources, and if they've got the right people behind it, I'm sure they can. So I hope so.
Get rid of the trucks and just make it like a proper World Cup.
The trucks?
Yeah, that one. Like,
it's a hard one because like I guess most of them are in Europe now. I think it'll always be like most are in Europe, but then they need to branch out to like more in North America, in my opinion. I think it needs to be more in North America because that's a massive. I don't know. A lot of people ride mountain bikes. It's a huge part of the market.
It looks like wicked venues though as well.
Scene.
Everyone says snowshoe was pretty epic, crowd wise.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. All the ones I've been to, Wyndham was awesome.
Yeah. You had a good result at Wyndham, didn't you, Potsy?
No.
Is that not you?
No, not me. I've never raced Wyndham.
Wyndham was one of the
I was always in Europe with no money, so I couldn't make it over to
America?
Didn't make America.
Walker did.
Oh, it was Walker.
Yeah.
11th or something.
I had a great
That's
result.
pretty impressive. In Wyndham.
That's the one David Edinburgh needs to commentate.
Yeah. Waters was great. Somebody stop him. Yeah, good place. I've had other good results, but not that one.
Yeah. I'd love to race MSAA, Mount St. Anne.
Did you never race it?
Nah.
One of the best.
Yeah. The one year I was over there, I was in Whistling. Decided to stay
stuck in the trap.
Yeah.
Do you know much about that Discovery deal?
Not personally, just from other people saying some stuff, but
so will they have their own website to stream it?
Yeah, no one really knows. They're not sure if they're gonna no one even knows if they're gonna charge to watch it, or if they'll sometimes they might stream through. Someone was saying either they do it or someone. I think they do it. They sell the rights to other channels, like on YouTube, who will stream it, like would say road cycling races.
Yeah.
That basically buy the rights. So not buy the rights, but they basically pay a certain amount or whatever to stream it on their channel.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure there'll be TV and other stuff too. I don't really know. It's really up in the air. Heaps of people don't really know yet what's happening. They've had meetings at Lords and stuff, so it's obviously being figured out, but no one really knows yet. Cause
I think if there was more of a series, I wouldn't personally mind paying a little bit for it. I wouldn't pay a Supercross pass is, but
again, so that's the thing. If you paid I have no idea. I don't watch Supercross enough to if I go watch it, I'll watch it at Lone Star with the boys or something. I never really pay for it. A couple of times I have, but I'm sure if it was $40 to watch a race, people wouldn't really watch it.
No,
unless they're core fans. If it was $5 or $10,
yeah,
I'm sure it's not really that much. You go get a coffee or one drink for $10.
No, I think Super Enduro streams for $10 a round or something. You don't have to pay for a subscription, you just pay the round, I think, for that.
And did Red Bull want out, or do you reckon Discovery outbid them, or was it what was?
I'd say I don't know, but I would probably say that Discovery outbidded them because I think mountain bike, from what I heard, the World Cups was their biggest streaming numbers. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's either way, it's huge for them. So I doubt they would have just been oh no, we don't want to do it. I think Discovery probably just wanted it because they it's an 8-year deal they've got plus an option for another 8 years. True. So they're going to be heavily invested.
So how long has Red Bull been doing it for now? Since Freecaster,
Since Freecaster.
Yeah, so they've been doing it a while, eh?
What was the last Freecaster I watched?
I know. It was
2011.
my first year juniors because I remember when I was racing Val de Sol, way out of my depth. Ruben, my mate from Nelson River, I'm not sure, he was on the Freecaster and he was second year's junior.
What was that, 2011?
Yeah, and I think 2012 it might have gone Red Bull, or the year after, possibly. Yep.
Mm. I always go, because Danny Hart was on Freecaster, and what was that, 2010 when he won?
That was Champree. That was the same year, because I went Val de Sol.
That's 2011, yeah.
Oh, was it? Yeah, Samuel was world champion 10.
I remember 2013 it was definitely already Red Bull.
Yeah, so it might have been
2012.
That was my last year's juniors.
No. I think 2012 was the first year.
Yeah, because I remember getting on the live feed for Norway. I was stoked.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's no junior class. That's and yourself. You got second.
Actually,
was that the same year? It was.
Yeah, you got second. Stevie won.
Yeah, that was sick.
If Discovery take over, what I want though, if we're gonna pay juniors and all of the qualifiers,
all 60, you reckon?
It doesn't. Yeah, you can tune in. I don't know how hard it'll be, but it's
it's a big problem though because it's such a long show. Everyone obviously who's core fans would want it, but logistically it doesn't really make sense if they're paying for airing time and stuff.
So when you watch it live though, because you're at the event, so you probably never watched it live and you can skip through, but when you're watching it live, you watch the women, and then there's like an hour break when it's obviously just men riding. And then when they start the show, there's like a whole heap of chat. And then they finally get into the...
Sure, so there's an hour break with
it's
TV and ads.
It's live, yeah, so it's all... So I think they should just... Because there's... How much of a gap is there from when the women finish to the men start and then like when you're there at the event?
I don't know, like from when the men's start, I think pretty much straight after the women's.
Yeah. So you could
it's
have
like straight from women's into men's, I think it is anyway. And then it's pretty quick though. The gaps are much smaller for the first 60th to whatever the number is. Like the first chunk goes pretty fast. And then from there, like once you obviously get to like 30 or it's obviously the top 20.
So that's my biggest pet hate watching it live is you watch the women, especially here when it's like 12 o'clock at night, so you're like kind of want to go to bed anyway. So you watch the women, then it ends, and you've got to wait an hour when you know that there's people riding, and then it goes on, and then like they've just got that already pre-recorded stuff, like interviews that Rob and whoever's done. So they're like now watching stuff while you still know people are riding. Then it cuts to it, and somebody's in the hot seat, and they've got to go and show you his run. You're like, well, if you just showed us it live, I would have seen his run already.
And like, I reckon if you film like they're filming them, it's one of the best bits you'd get. I reckon people just go like they know they could be getting filmed. Like,
that's why
World Champs. They film everybody at World Champs, and you get someone like that.
The best race at Supercross is the 250 LCQ because people are on the live shit and they're going nuts.
Yeah, that's why I reckon they should film the juniors race. I reckon.
Do they not film the juniors at all?
Nah, it's not filmed. It should be. You know, I think quite a few people reckon this now. I don't know logistically like how it works, but I reckon the juniors should be even like top 5 or top 10 should show their runs because they'll be.
Their runs are as fast. Like, what's the far? Like, where did
Jackson
Goldstone finish in the elite?
So even like in his first year elite, I think a couple of times he might have been like 15th, top 15.
Yeah, like he's one of the fastest men. Like,
and now he's what did he get at Lords? It was. Yeah, maybe he was almost even top 10. It was like hectic,
So if I could see, if I was going to pay, that's what I want. I want everything.
Yeah.
Like I don't know because the gap between junior.
Even if they showed like some of those men in that gap between women's and the top 20. Yeah, they could show some for sure. I understand like they couldn't just not have any ads, but I feel like they should.
But they don't
have like some of the highlight runs or whatever.
Well, Red Bull doesn't have any ads. It's just Red Bull. Yeah. So there's way more room for a bit more like.
What did they even do in that time?
Nothing. It's just like dead air. It's dead air for like an hour, and then it goes back on, and it's like.
So it would be dead air.
It's not really. Yeah. So you're sat there, like you're waiting, and that's when you're like, do I go to sleep and just watch the replay in the morning, or? Yeah. True. So it's rubbish. So you may as well be watching people come down. Yeah. If they're filming.
Shows my knowledge of that. I've never obviously.
But you're always at so you don't need to.
At the race. So I just don't know.
But obviously, you got back from Lords a couple of weeks ago, which we expected to be in the snow, but it was pretty prime conditions, eh?
We got so lucky. Yeah. Where everyone was like, "What the hell are we doing here?" in March, and why is there a race at that time? But we were super lucky. I think Lords for a start is like a wet place that time of year, and in general, especially that time of year. And like obviously the potential to snow is still quite high at that time. Like even just the top of the track. Yeah. And that's like the slipperiest part. That's where you really don't want. You don't want snow. And then, sure enough, after the race, 2 days later, there was like this big dump of snow.
Oh really?
Yeah. I'll show you a photo later. But there was like this photo. A couple of photos that we'd seen online. Of the whole top of the track just covered in snow.
Imagine.
Imagine if
I wish that happened on race day. I would have loved it.
No, it wouldn't have even been that exciting because like it's not like a steep, real techie track where like there's kind of like carnage. It's more like it's meant to be a fast track, but you'd be kind of just slipping down, not really. It wouldn't be that exciting. It just looked
because I guess like Chamfery and the wets. Kind of so steep and like tech.
You still get that
loose vibe. I guess.
Yeah. Whereas like at Lords, there's a lot of carrying your speed, so it just kind of look like people just running slow. And if you've ever raced it ridden it in the wet, it is like stupid slippery. The wet, the top of it is like terrifying. So,
how gnarly is that? Because videos never do it justice. That top chute into the left hand at the bottom.
It wasn't as bad this year. I don't know if they've like. Maybe it's from years of riding over the past, or if they've like shaved the top. It felt like dropping into the chute was not as bad. The only issue this year was like right as you hit like the bit of compression before you get to the next like step off the wall.
Yeah.
There was like a big hole there, but people in the end were just coming in like fast and kind of like gapping and landing past that hole, and then just kind of like bounce off the wall. But the main thing was like the wall part where there's like actually like a little. It's like an old like little stone wall or something that you kind of like skim over the top of, and that's I think it's just been like ridden so much it's kind of been all like flattened and smooth.
Yeah.
It's still a kind of gnarly section, but it's not like what it used to be.
No.
I guess the other thing is we didn't ride in the wet. When it was in the wet, that's what was a problem. Yeah. It's like I can't remember Eddie or someone was saying, and like in the past, in the wet, you like have this like line of riders at the top just waiting for your turn to go down.
Well, what we were saying before, when you just like you don't want to be that guy to drop in.
Yeah, and you'd be at the top, and you couldn't like see over the wall, so you'd kind of hear this. Yeah, oh. And then it'd be like, and then they like wait a bit, clear the ride off. Yeah, you're good. Next ride, and just be like, good luck, mate. Oh, that's awesome. Half the time you'd be like, at the top. Yeah, and if someone made him like, yeah, he'd be stoked, and then just be next one. Ooh.
That's the best riders in the world, eh? That's just like,
yeah.
I think there's a Vital Raw. They did it, and I just loved it.
Yeah.
So
I actually had a couple of crashes off. I don't think I ever crashed in the wet. I crashed in the past in the dry.
That's where you bloody took out that chick, wasn't it?
Yeah, broke her nose.
Did you?
Yeah. You don't hear about that?
I didn't know you broke her nose though.
Oh yeah, so
pretty rough, mate.
And knocked her out.
Oh my.
Poor girl. So I just came down the chute, and right before going off that last little drop bit, my pedal clipped something on the right.
Yeah.
And just spat me, and like I think my foot came off, and I was just like went off the wall like one foot, and like just I think then clipped the other pedal and just went over the bars. That was another time I crashed. This time I was like, I clipped something, or I just got a bit loose, and I went off the wall and got bucked, and kind of landed, and then like bucked again and wasn't going to make the corner. I was like bucked and like kind of unweighted. The back wheel was unweighted, but just before I did the berm. And I remember looking at the berm and just being like, I could just see this girl behind it, right behind the tape, behind the berm, but not looking at me. She was looking to the side. I remember just being like, oh no, I'm out of control and I can't stop here. And I was like, just thinking, look at me, just look. And then she just did it, and then I was just like, boom, and just, because I was like fully like,
there's nothing you can do.
I was a passenger by that point. I still felt terrible.
You should have shouted rider.
Fully just incoming, but like cleaned her out, and then I was just like, I was actually all good, and she was all good after she got knocked out, but she was like got up and it was fine. But
nose reconstruction.
The funny thing was like her parents were there with her.
Yeah.
So her parents were right there and seen it all, and Dad was like just a man like frother, so he was almost just loving it.
Can I have your signature?
Yeah, he just came to see me after and stuff, and he was just like,
"You're lucky you were in America, mate. You would have been sued."
Yeah,
honestly, you could. Yeah.
I
didn't even know what happened there. You probably could get sued.
Did you get it on video or any photos of that? Or what?
Nah,
bugger.
Unfortunately.
Okay, that would have been.
He's got a photo though. The dad.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I think I've seen a photo of you at the pits, and she's got her nose like
bandage on her nose and stuff. Oh, we gave her some gear like from the team pits at the time, and
full face helmet.
Yeah. Oh, could have done with that.
So good.
Oh man.
But you're speaking of pits, you were in new pits this year with Couscous, and.
Yeah, so
how was that transition? Was that the first time you got to really meet the whole team since you got the bikes and stuff? Obviously,
the whole team, all together and stuff like, and like some people you like Kai, for example, I'd see G'day like briefly just passing in the pit sort of thing like a couple of times, and Vanessa I hadn't met before, and Tracy I've met a few times but not like hung out with her, and Fab I've met a bunch of times too. So I already knew Fab, and then. Yeah, like two mechanics is Gav and Frank. So I knew Frank, didn't know Gav. Yeah, anyway, so some of them like I knew, some not so much, and it was just like the team's like a real good team actually. Everyone gets along well, and it's run really well actually, like really professional. I'd say one of the best. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised of how good it is. So I'm stoked. Yeah.
And you haven't had too long on that bike before heading over as well. And with COVID, you obviously haven't had the chance to really fly. Yeah, well, do team camps.
I had a bit of time on it, but I've fortunately so ProFlow in Queenstown, he's been helping. We've got a team deal, a sponsorship deal, where he's like helping with setup. So I've done a bunch of testing on the suspension and just getting it dialed in here. So it was pretty well dialed before going over, and I've just done a few days. I've gone to like timing laps and just setting up suspension stuff and done some races. But yeah, there's still some things needed to do going to Europe and stuff. So yeah, but it was a little bit rushed because I didn't start riding until January, I think it was.
Yeah, but your debut, mate, you're national champ on the new bike.
Yeah,
how good was that?
By then I was good.
Confidence.
Yeah. No, it was stoked. It's just like, I don't know, just a lot of people. It was funny because a lot of people were like, oh, how's like this or that or something on the bike. Like so many people just questioning like if it was good. And I was like, I'm fucking happy. I'm loving it. Like I can't be riding this good if it's shit. And it's like proofs in the pudding. So yeah, it's kind of like funny to hear people being like, oh, poor George or something like Francisco Pardal. He was mechanicking at the first race. And he was saying in the off season, people would go to Toulouse, which is where he lives nearby anyway. You know Francisco Pardal, Portuguese guy.
Yeah, I know of him, but I haven't met him personally.
Yeah, and real good sort. And
was it here like a couple of years ago? I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so him and his brother run like a shuttle company. Yeah. And he was saying like some of the other riders would say like, oh, poor George and stuff, like about after the team announcement. So it's kind of like, I like that I'm like riding probably the best I have in years.
We were talking about this before you got here, George, because you were late. But we were actually saying, but we were saying like the bike, obviously the bike does make a difference, but it's definitely like the rider at the end of the day is really what makes it work.
For sure, yeah. And like it's a big combination of lots of things like.
But I can also like the rider, like you just saying that you're like happy with the team environment, like you're in a good head, being in a good headspace. Like I reckon is so massive, like almost like over like components and stuff. Like
yeah, exactly. And it's just that's probably the best thing about the NS team or the UR team is that they like I don't know, they just like want you to be happy and comfortable.
Yeah.
Whereas like. I wouldn't say in the very recent years, it was any cost that could be cut was done, and it was just like
very business.
Just felt like you just didn't mean shit. It was just frustrating. So now it's like that's why I said before. It's probably one of the best run teams I've been on. So just happy, yeah. Though Fab's raced before, he's raced World Cups for years, and he's run the team for years. And Tracy is like road manager apart from at Crankworks.
Yeah.
And she's obviously been there, done that. She's one of the best riders in the world. So she does everything she can to make it work for us. So yeah, it's man, I'm stoked. It goes real good, yeah.
Are you getting so the next race is Fort William? Mm-hmm. Are you getting there long before that to get a bit more time with the team? Because it's got to make a difference when you're riding with the team.
Yeah, well...
Again, like what you're saying with your videos, like riding together, you get
better
videos. So when it comes to testing as well, you can bounce ideas off each other and you can say...
For sure, yeah.
Try to keep up with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I haven't actually got the flights booked, but I think I'll be flying about midweek of the week before the World Cup.
Yeah.
So I'll be there for like 10 days before the World Cup.
And is this?
But the team, I think everyone arrives a little bit later. I wanted to fly in so I could get there just in time in case we could ride the track before the World Cup. But apparently it's closed until the World Cup for like 2-3 weeks before.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's been 2 years, isn't it?
Exactly,
That place is probably are they allowed to have the crowds back?
Yeah, I don't think there's any restrictions.
Oh, that's going to go.
I think pretty much
that's going to be a good race.
Yeah. Even like that, you saw that in Lords. It was like
everyone's just excited to be back.
I think it was like 40,000 they reckon. It was hectic.
Back from when I'm racing, I reckon that's the coolest feel. Like just having having the track lined. Obviously, because I'm not qualifying first. Yeah. I got a track lined with people, and that's just like the coolest feeling.
You should come over, Popsy. You're the only one in this room that's not going to be there.
Yeah, I'm going to Canada.
You're going to Canada, right?
But like, I could imagine how weird it would be practicing, doing your qualifying for those like top 5 guys, having lines of people there, and then you're in that start hut, and it's just nobody. All weekend there's been people lining the track, and then you're in the start hut, and there's just like the odd person.
I reckon it's funny because people always say a lot of people anyway, don't like qualifying real well, or like if they're like. if people have done like okay and then they've qualified like top 3 or something, they just like start shitting themselves and get real nervous and stuff. I've always felt better from that because you're at the top of the hill and like no one's there. It's just like calm, peaceful. You just like sweat and just chill out. And when you're at the top of the hill, if you've had like an average qualifying and there's like all these people on wind trainers, all you just hear is people doing these hectic
in the background
and all these people walking around watching. And, yeah, well, you hear that a lot. You hear that a lot more. Yeah, you don't miss that sound. Do you?
Nope.
That's the sound of a lot of nerves.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, when it's so calm and when you're like, say if you qualify like top 5 or something, there's just like no noise at the top. It's sick. I reckon it's way better.
Do you
if you
feel
qualify shit for a start? That's the other thing. Is like if you've qualified mean, you know you've already got the speed. So like you're not like stressing to like make a basically risky life to make some time up. Whereas if you qualify shit, it sucks. You're shitting yourself.
Do you ride better when you do have a bit of nerves, or do you need to be chilled out?
Yeah, it's kind of like a hard one with that. It's like you almost need nerves to kind of lift your game. But that's where the top riders are so good that's why they're so good, is because they'll be like nervous to the point where they like can almost spew up. Yeah. But they're able to like channel that. Yeah. Whereas like so many people, I'm reading this book actually about the psychologists of the All Blacks that for that 10-year period where they just dominated. And he talks about how your brain basically deals with those nerves, and basically it all just comes down to like human sort of instincts, or a lot of it does, whether it's like that's all your like your red brain or whatever. But it's basically either fight or flight. Yeah. And it's like you running away from being so uncomfortable. So you can be real nervous and you kind of like, people say choke, it's just because you like, it's not natural for a person to just go forwards into a situation like that. But top riders are able to just like be so nervous to the point where like they're shitting themselves and then just lay it all on the line and like just just like up their game. I remember listening to this thing of in one of the edits of back in the days, like one of the films that Clay Porter done, and Sam Hill's talking about, that the Val de Sol race, right? Yeah. And he's talking about it at the top, and he's like 30 something degrees, and he was like super hot. I was real nervous, spewed up, like off the turbo trainer, put the helmet on, went to the start, and then just fucking lay down. And most insane run. That just says it all. Like, top dudes are just as nervous, but they know how to deal with it. And like, being told like, oh, you do this and that is still like easier said than done. Yeah. You could be told all the techniques of how to do it, but that's a pretty hectic thing.
Yeah, the reason I ask is I think I actually have my best runs when I'm nervous. Because lately I haven't actually felt that good, but I'm never nervous at the top. Yeah, because I'm just
it's one of those things, and a lot of the nerves come from if you want to do well.
I can agree with that.
And then my race where I felt like I did the best this year was the Amstrak Vertigo series, and I got to the top and I was like, I'm nervous of this because I couldn't felt like I wasn't didn't actually obviously always want to win. Yeah, but I was like, I've gone as fast as what I want to go down this track is like actually kind of scared because we got to the top and. Everyone's waiting. I was like, anyone going to go? And they were like, because it was obviously self-seeded. Yeah. And like, no, I was like, well, I'm nervous as fuck. I'm going in now. And and I was like, when? And then I think I think my second run might have actually been. Well, I was saying that actually, I think my second run might have been faster, but I wasn't as nervous. But it's because I just put down like the best run up until that point, but I hadn't even been close to that. But all my other runs lately this year or. For the last couple of years, to be honest, I've not really been that happy, but I've also not been nervous at the top. I've just been like...
I reckon also... we had that big race up Coronet Peak. It was probably 4 years ago now. It was pretty much like a mini World Cup when George was on Trek. Like Greg Williamson, all those boys were over, and there was 2 race runs. Yeah. And we all raced with our chain the first lap, and then I was like, gentlemen's rule. We all took our chains off. And I'm pretty sure everyone in the elite went faster, except for like one person without a chain. Pretty much, Just, I guess, the carrying speed and like... Yeah, I thought it was quite because it was a flat bit on the track.
It's one of those things where you're like, you knew you just had to fucking lay it all on the line to go faster, and people went faster.
Yeah,
I that would not be my strength. I don't think I'm very much like a pedal.
That's
out of
one
a corner
track. One
game.
track you can get away with it though. I reckon.
Yeah, I guess
Like,
you don't have room to pedal out of corners there. Right? You just got to line
It
up.
was the old one. There was like one flat bit towards the bottom, but yeah, it was pretty just breaking the right places, I guess.
Yeah. What I like about Coronet is you actually don't set up for the corner in front of you. You don't set up for the corner after that. You set up about 3 corners ahead. Because if you cook one corner, you're not like you're screwing up like the next 4.
Yeah.
I love how dialed you got to be there, but at the same time, I'm just like, there's not really. There's kind of lines, but there's not really much of a line. You just got to.
There's such
put your balls
fine
to the wall.
little lines. Yeah.
And not make any mistakes.
I just can't process the speed. I like slower technical tracks because at least when you're going slow, I can process it, and it just comes down to more of like picking your line, if that makes sense. Whereas like Coronet, I'm just like, look how fast like you go down. And I'm like, I can't. My eyes can't like focus, and I'm like, you got to look. Like obviously you look further forward, but even still, I'm just like, my eyes just can't pull it in.
I feel like for me and you, though, like. We make like a little mistake and it'll cost us a second there. Those guys are just on the limit and they just... I guess you make mistakes occasionally, but you're probably less inclined to. Like those you top...
Yeah.
Well,
there's still dudes actually speaking of that, Maury, you look at his race run at Lords,
his hands down.
He probably lost a couple of seconds at least in that. That was a massive... He probably lost like 3 seconds.
He's my favourite rider to watch at a race run, hands down.
I honestly reckon, he is the sickest gun on the bike.
Do you think it's getting to that point again now where it's like what we had with like the Sam Hill moment, the Gwyn moment, and now it's like the moment where it's like the levels just getting like that's like elevated?
Well, I feel like it's harder to dominate these days because a lot of it's because everyone knows what training you have to do and preparation, whether it's like bike prep and setup, and for a start, like suspension is all kind of caught up. Everyone's like on a pretty level playing field, so it's probably why you see less and less of people just absolutely blitzing everyone like every race. But then you've still got those top guys that's why it's kind of come down to like the top guys will still win, and by like what is we know is like a big margin, which might be like 2.5 seconds. But that's like back in the day, it's 2.5, it's not much. But like now, like a Moyes race run at Leger, I reckon that's like at least top 5 best race runs ever. If you're like there and you understood how like much like a 0.3 second gap was, and he pulled like 2.5 seconds into everyone was just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, well,
it was ridiculous.
Interesting how like even like today, even with all the modern stuff, like Ferion is wild. He's like on the edge. He's so like hands down my favourite rider.
Crash all the time.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so sick
like,
to watch. Yeah,
Bruni is competitive with him, and he's like other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, it looks
he
slow.
Is tidy, just smooth, and they're so close. Wow.
Yeah.
2 seconds is not, but on some races, but like
some races they'll be
2 seconds is like still. But like nothing though. You think how easy you can lose
2
that?
seconds is still nothing. Yeah.
To make it up is like that's kind of
you
hard.
imagine
to
if
lose
you
it is
saw,
so easy.
If you're watching that and you've seen, so the guy, say if you had like ghost riders, you're following each other or something. One guy crosses the line, 1, 2, boom, cross the line.
Yeah.
It's still it's
nothing.
It's absolutely bugger all. So when you're thinking of like 0.01 or something, it's like that must be like not even half your wheel. It's like nothing.
Like you say, if you did a ghost ride, you wouldn't even. They cross the line virtually at the same point. Anything within a second, you're pretty much like
it's so close.
Yeah, 2 seconds is like. Yeah, well, I think there's just more like. I think maybe not everyone that qualifies, but there's probably like 30 guys that could genuinely potentially win, but it's that consistency within that top 30.
Every aspect. I think it's mental is what sets the top guys apart from everyone, for sure.
Yeah, because you come down...
it's not. It's been French.
If everyone... how many baguettes you eat?
Yeah. Snails.
But yeah, like, I don't know, like, just there's probably, 10 to 15 guys that could win, realistically, on the day. Like, getting a podium's a different story, but actually winning the race, you basically have to have, like, the typical top 5 or so guys to all fuck it up, basically, for someone who's like really unexpected to then go and win.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's a lot of guys that could win if they had like a good race run for sure.
Yeah. It's almost down to the guy that makes the least mistakes now, not the guy that necessarily does.
But basically, for that reason, yeah. It's pretty insane to think like dudes are just like on the edge, hanging it out and making like pretty minimal mistakes. Like Amori's mistake was like huge these days, but he realistically just got offline and like lost a bit of speed. He didn't like crash or anything. And but that's like these days that was like a massive mistake. Yeah. So mistakes these days is like a bit of a slide in a corner and you don't exit quite right.
Yeah, because going back
that's
to
a big fuck up.
It's not like
going back to like Sam Hill's run when he big
fully
slide out, third place.
What on like with a massive flat banana,
the bent
crank and
crank,
everything, and you're like,
even
how did you still get third? He almost won it.
Gwyn won by like 8 seconds at Bell Solo when he was on trip when he was killing it.
Yeah, massive margin. Yeah,
cute. Like,
and then wild.
Gnarly dog, world champ.
That was
how good is that?
Was I on the phone to you that night as well? I was calling Finn, and I think you were with Finn. This is when we were in lockdown here. We were in Rotorua, and it was like 3 a.m. So the only way to keep up, we were just drinking hard out. That was like the biggest bender we had, and it was World Champs night. I think I was like calling. I looked at my phone the next day, and I was like calling you, Finn, Eddie. I even tried to like call like PT and like all like everyone I knew that would have been there. I was calling everyone. Yeah. But I think I only got through to Finn. But I think you might have been on the phone as well.
Yeah. I can't remember, but yeah, that was
odd.
Hectic. I was just like,
everyone was just stoked.
Nobody wasn't stoked.
No one was like, oh, like it could have. Yeah.
No, you can't be like. It's like for everyone getting beaten by their dad. You wouldn't be like, you wouldn't be disappointed if your dad beat you. You'd just be like,
well played.
And I love how like I'm brooding him like, I bet there's mates. I don't. But like a little bit of social media beef. They're always egging each other on.
Oh, they do, for sure. Brady loves a bit of social media beef. Like, always playing. You know, he's never serious.
I love it because
I like it that he's just always taking the piss online. He's not too serious.
You can't take it,
If only it was dual slalom downhill. Imagine how much beef it would be then.
Dude, honestly, it would be a whole different sport.
Who would be the basher, you reckon, if they...
That's what I reckon.
Probably Brooke, actually.
Brooke and Wynn back in the days apparently in four cross were just menaces. There's a story of was it like 2009 or something, 2010, back when they were on Ancelotti.
Yeah.
That small Italian company, and they were racing four cross like flat pedals and stuff, and they terrible out the gate as you'd expect, especially with flats and stuff. And then they just come like catching up, big inside drifts and stuff, and apparently they were just taking dudes out. And one of the top dudes got full sandwich. There was Brooke and Wynn on either side of him, and then just bulked for and just took this one out.
Kamikaze.
Yeah. So those boys have been wild.
That's I reckon why like
slalom.
All down. Well, not all, but like majority of mountain bikers or downhill. If you guys all get along on the circuit,
everyone's
because you're racing a clock. If you make a mistake, it's
you're
your
racing
fault.
the track. Yeah.
You don't have like beef against somebody. The like supercross is like you're handlebar to handlebar with the guy beside you. Like you can see how the tension builds. And you're like, fuck you.
It kind of sucked to go to races and like half of the people you're like not even to say good day to. It was like the World Cups. It's like it's kind of the same as like coming back to Queenstown and being froth seal your mates again. It's like then you go to the World Cup, so you just
catch up with everyone too.
It's mean. Go around everyone's pits and say hello.
Yeah,
it's sick. Everyone's like good friends. It's
yeah.
Good sport to be involved with, I reckon.
Who, apart from George, obviously, who's our pick for winning Fort William? So, all right, who's our pick to get second behind George?
I know who my pick is.
I go first.
I reckon Manar.
I was going to say Laurie, his teammate.
I don't know how Laurie's done it there.
He's won there before. He almost went over the bars, didn't he?
I reckon.
I was going to come out and say Troy because he's won there before. He's
not going to be all good by then.
Okay, I take that back.
So pick again, Potter. He's still not ready to race by then, apparently, from what Kai was saying. But you think about it with Manar, like anytime he does shit, he always just bounces back, like and just does like out of nowhere, just kills it.
Yeah, like
and he didn't, by Manar's standard anyway, did shit in Lords.
What did
he? Still was like, he was like was he 15th or 20th?
Because like occasionally,
which is
like
not bad, but it's like for Minard, you know, he won't be stoked. And I reckon
he starts puzzling.
He'll come back and he'll just. I reckon he'll be fine on all
That's
cylinders.
so true, because like even like previous years, like randomly he'll have like a kind of average result like in his terms, and like you say, the next race he comes back and he's just like podium.
There's a story of was it Rob Roscott back in the days, the owner of Santa Cruz, was I can't remember who told me this, but apparently he wanted Minard to have a psychologist, because I think it was at one point when Minard wasn't doing like consistently just winning, like or always like pretty much winning or whatever, and then Rob wanted to have a psychologist, and Minard was like, nah, because he's got obviously his own way of doing things, and he's just done it for years, and he's got his own method. And he was like, fuck it, man, don't want a psychologist, and like did kind of bad at the race, and then after that was when Rob spoke to him. Sure enough, next race came back and won it.
After seeing a psychologist, putting the pressure on.
Basically, just proving I don't need a fucking psychologist. And the other thing is regarding me thinking Minard winning Fort William is I think that's his most winningest track as well.
Yeah.
So I honestly reckon Minard is definitely a hot pick for Fort William. And
I hope so.
Amori,
I think I'd like to see that again.
He'd be my favourite to win for
I'll be
sure.
stoked if he won, yeah.
Or after you, George.
Or second.
George
second.
second.
Hey, thanks guys. Supportive. But yeah.
Maybe me if I show up.
Yeah.
I'd have to qualify. I think I'd struggle to do that these days.
Yeah,
What is it, 60
though.
now? Yeah, I might come to a POV.
Top 60 is actually pretty gnarly right now.
I've actually entered a race at Fort William.
Have you?
I've entered the 4-cross there.
This year?
Actually,
Yeah.
good.
Well, we'll see if it actually happens, but yeah, I've entered anyway, so I'll see if they accept me. But I don't know if there's much. Don't know if you need much to get in.
4-cross is sort of like not really a thing, is it anymore?
I reckon it's the sickest racing ever.
I reckon
I've raced it once.
I reckon the old school dual slalom, like back Sean McCarroll days, looked insanely
because
fun.
it's bar to bar.
It was like bar to bar, moguls, just
looked
epic.
Wild. Yeah.
No,
like slalom still is sick now. It'd be meant if it was a bit more like the flat corners now are like real kind of like awkward and slow, and you're kind of like like you're not even going that fast.
You're on the flat.
I'd be sick of that just being wide. Yeah, like the old school
into
ones.
woods,
So
and another
sick.
flat corner into like a triple.
But then it also like was merged track.
Yeah, it did too.
Because it was because
is that what they did?
No, I mean that's what they should do. Because at the moment it's a fully split line track, so you can't touch the other rider.
The Crankworks ones, like, I don't know, it's just me because I'm not good at it probably, but they're so like perfect berm. I guess they have some flat corners though, don't they? Towards the end usually.
Yeah. I feel like having an emerged track is just asking
That's
for
good though.
constant takeouts.
Yeah,
Get the
but they
stick
should
coated
do that at
in
the
there.
bottom. It should be what you say is like, like perfect. You can start perfect berms, and then maybe a couple of flat corners, and then to like a 4-cross style track. So there's like,
so you go with it.
So you start split.
Oh,
so
it finishes. That's actually a real cool. That'd be
so it's not
idea.
like you can take someone out at the start, so you get like really jacked up. So it's at the bottom when it's like, and if you pull out, because they were like within it, and you're talking like 0.0001
and if it's super close, it'd be perfect day for the front.
It'd be fucking entertaining, that's for sure.
Imagine
so the takeouts would be insane. If it was flat corners to the finish, that would be less sketchy. At least if you get taken out, you just slide sort of thing.
Yeah, but imagine like Fernhill Friend, Fernhill Frenzy.
But merge at the bottom. Merge at the bottom, but the last 3 corners are flat but merged. So you're trying inside the
big, or like semi-banked or something, but big.
Well, like 4-cross, like big, like 4-cross bank.
Yeah. I think at
we'll
some point
we'll run into Discovery.
Yeah,
at
some
point they wanted to bring back slalom. Martin White was talking about it. This is when I was on track. So like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, and they were talking about bringing it back on Saturday nights, I think it was.
Yeah.
So like all the non-quali people could do it.
Oh.
Yeah. And then it'd just be chaos.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Compulsory funnel before.
That would be actually... Yeah,
it was a good idea, but it never happened.
I guess it's probably not too... Wow.
Yeah.
PC enough sometimes.
No. Slalom was one of the funnest. Have you done many slalom?
Occasionally. Not heaps.
I've done... My first one was 2020 Innsbruck. And after that, I've just done like every one I can. That was so fun.
Yeah.
I was like, when I done it, I was like, how have I not done slalom before?
But I feel like
That's sick.
Yeah, you need like a Pacific bike. Like if you're competing with Bass and those boys, you just get
To compete,
What was the one last year? He got
I've
seconded
always
on
used
his
the trail bike.
Did he? Because he didn't even modify his bike, did he? He was on his trail bike.
Who was that?
But it looked like Eddie.
Bass.
No, Eddie got second at one last year. What was that?
If you just like have an air shot and fork. So in the past 2 years when I've done it, I've just pumped everything up to max PSI, tires to like 45, full close the compression, and just basically everything just as hard as it can go.
Yeah.
And just
Slow the rebound.
I'm taking down notes for Fort William Four-Cross. 45.
Yeah, I don't know about four cross though, because slalom's different. You like, it's like a tighter track where you're having to like hit these hard little berms and like pump real fast.
Yeah.
Whereas like four cross is a bit more like big sort of like berms and like bigger rollers and big like doubles and stuff. Probably still want a bit of forgiveness in the bike.
A bit of push.
I might be wrong, but I think so. But yeah, it definitely make it kind of hard. But yeah, I reckon in four cross you'd be sweet with a trail bike.
Yeah.
Like in slalom, I've always used a trail bike and could go faster than that. So.
Are you doing any of the crank? Are you going to Innsbruck again this year?
Yeah, I think I'm doing all the crankworks. I'm not sure about the Ken's one.
I reckon the Ken's one would be pretty cool, eh? I'd rather go to the Ken's one than the Rotorua one.
Ken's is before Rotorua, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Rotorua is in November.
Yeah, and I think Ken's
over
is
here
October,
we've got. We're having Rotorua.
Is this public knowledge yet? Ken's?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm not quite sure. It has been released, hasn't it?
I don't even know.
There's only about 50 people listening to this, so I'll be right.
Ah, sweet.
So there's around. Yeah, I didn't know. It is public knowledge. I'm pretty sure it was on Instagram.
Oh, was that? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Remember.
Anyway, so there's Cairns at the end. Then we've got Rotorua in November, I think. And then we've got another summer series should be coming back to Queenstown in around about like March time.
Is it going? Oh, so it'll be later this year.
Yeah, so remember it was in December last year, so they're looking at like starting. Well, I think last year originally it was going to be in the new year, and then it just didn't happen, so it ended up getting pushed back to December. So I think this year they're looking to start the year with it again, and it might be like
this year, next year.
No, 2023.
Yeah,
and then because I think the idea is obviously like the summer series is like a qualifier for the main Crankworks things.
Yeah.
And then so you get that one in February March time, and then they'll start the official tour in Rotorua then in March. April time, something like that. So then it'll start again with Rotorua. So we'll get like
so it's gonna be like 3. I'm gonna have to get training.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm going to be actually building my own house
There
at
you
the
go.
time. But
I'll
make it come back.
What's going to be your forte? Are you going to get on the Jill? So forte Jill slalom then?
Well, I've just obviously just
everything.
Listening to
Definitely
George, I
slalom.
just pump everything up and watch out, Bass, I'm coming for
There
you.
you go.
That downhill.
You definitely
Downhill
can be
4K.
competitive on a trail bike. I reckon you should do it.
Oh yeah, well,
Do slalom for sure. You'll love it.
Yeah, I've got to enter first, but yeah, I'll be keen.
It's a sick track too, actually.
We should start. There's actually some good spots in Queenstown where we could make some like unofficial dual slalom tracks, but we could incorporate it into
Our training.
our
regime.
training. Bracken.
Up the bike park hill.
No, not up the bike park. There's a few like Bracken spots. You can make good like dual slalom.
Oh,
brackens.
they had good
That'd
It's
be
like
sick.
Loma, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be keen on that.
Yeah, so we're trying to find.
And then
some
when
else.
you like blow up, you just kind of like lie on a big bush of bracken.
Yeah, happy days.
We've got bracken around here.
Don't you worry.
Okay.
You don't worry. You'll be
Hush that.
overseas.
Yeah,
while
you can come back and there'll be a
I'll actually
whole
be
new
doing
array
the
of
slaloms
trails
over
for you.
there.
Pandemic 2.0.
Oh mate,
Dual slalom.
There's some good. Speaking of, there's some good trails that came out of lockdown, isn't there?
yeah, thanks.
I rode subsidy today.
Auntie Cindy.
Subsidy for the first time today, actually.
Oh, how was it?
Fucking awesome.
It is like I can
It's a
favourite track riding
sick
Queenstown at the
track.
moment, eh?
It's so good.
It just works.
Although, so Shauno showed me it, and yeah, so you like kind of like goat track it, and then you get to that fence, you jump over, and then it actually starts. And then right after that, there's like 2 rocks. It's
Double drop.
The triple. And he was saying how Cole took was it you as well?
No,
like
I
he took Eddie.
Eddie
Cole
and
took
Joshy.
Eddie and Joshy, yeah.
Yeah.
And said that he nearly killed them.
He was
just pulled for the triple.
It's like a single
and didn't
drop.
Tell them.
Yeah, it's like 2 drops, and you like the first drop you can drop to the left, and you go around the second one, and then Jake Byrne cuts some branches back, and
Oh, so was that
you can
not-
double drop it, and like this is an edit he's releasing soon that everyone should watch because it'll be sick.
Nice.
But anyway, Cole did it as well, and then just dropped in and was like, Eddie and Joshy, there's a bit of like a drop coming up, don't worry, you'll be fine. And just rolls off it and does this big double drop. And then Eddie and Joshy followed him and it's like, apparently almost like Case did, and one of them like shot off to the left, but they were just...
And so to give people context, the next one is like an uphill kind of takeoff with the rock. So if you tag that, it's like what would be like 2 meters down to the landing behind, like...
But all he had to say was like...
First, so I can like break your neck. So it was...
All he had to say was like...
I've seen it. I was like, oh, why did you not tell him?
Sabotaging Eddie for the EWS season.
Yeah, Cole's not stupid. He just pretends to be.
Oh, yeah, it could have been bad. When I seen it, I was like, holy crap. But it's a sick track. So good. I was frothing the bottom bit, the little supercross bit.
Yeah, because it used to go...
I'm not road than you.
Used to go... Yeah, I would recommend it. It used to go left and sidle for a while and come out
really?
literally opposite my place here. Came that far. But then they started doing forestry, so they just cut in those loam.
That's sick. So I was going to see, I was like, how's it so fresh and loamy still? Yeah, so it's pretty new. Yeah, as meant. Big fan.
Yeah.
Mucho.
So, Potsy, you're saying that your forte is downhill. So for people that don't know, you've actually raced a few downhills, a few World Cups as well.
Yeah, back in my heyday.
You got any stories from... Was the Vanzaks a thing, or were you even pre-Vanzak?
I was sort of pre-Vanzaks. We were I wasn't in the Marai, but part of the Marai crew. So it was like Eddie, Walker and T-Max.
Yeah.
And then I went over with Cam Johnson, who's CJ Suspension, and Alana Collin in our van. And we just kind of cruised around together. And that year was up. That was my first year out of juniors. So I was on elite.
First year
elite.
You went and raced a track in Scotland, didn't you? In Eleithen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was depressing.
I think that was... Do you know that was the first time we actually raced each other without even knowing?
Really? And do you know what? It was probably the worst thing I could have done. I went in Eleithen, me, Eddie and Walker, everybody all excited, like, we're making our world debut, we're going to kill it. Got our doors absolutely blowing off, and we're just like, what are we going to do? We've got the World Cup next weekend. We're getting smoked at this Nationals race.
Which year was this?
It was 2013.
2013.
Oh, yeah, so I went to that one as well.
And it's like, they are just on another level, and we got smoked.
Especially because, remember how it's so hard to race it, especially if you're like not used to riding in the tight trees.
That was my first race away from like my local tracks, and I was like, this is the hardest place. It's so tight. It's actually
tight.
So I was like, that's the year I was on the Steve Pete Syndicate team, and like 800mm bars had just kind of started to come out.
Oh no!
And we did a training camp the week before that, and so we're running with Steve, and I knew he had 800, and I think my bars had cut down to maybe 730 at the time, and I was like, fuck, these trees are so tight. And Pete was getting down with 800, and I was like, how the fuck do you get down this track with 800mm bars on? Because there was like, I remember there's like just two like back-to-back trees like that, and I was like, how?
But funny story actually. That year, our season ended in quite a big crash. It was Les DeWelp's Crankworks, and for some reason I had no money, so rim had a little bit of dent in it, and at Andorra the weekend before, my tyre peeled off on the last corner.
You were behind me, I remember this.
The tube all came out, and I was like, oh sweet, that was just unlucky. So I put it all back on and went to Les DeWelp's for this race, and there's this big grass left hand into this double step down over this road, and I was coming like hooking it, following George along this left hand, and then my tyre just unraveled off the rim, and then the tube obviously...
It was on the takeoff, wasn't it?
Yeah, just coming into the takeoff, and then obviously the tube's full of air and then just opens up, locks up, so then I just went off the step down. Braking would obviously makes you just go straight over the bar. And I just went down, ended up breaking like both my hand and my wrist. And
my God.
I was in Europe and I was just inconvenient.
How was the timing of that, eh?
And
literally, if that happened a second before, you were just washed out of the big left corner.
Nick Beer and stuff were up top, and they're just like, hands in the air, like, oh my God. As I just went off this thing.
Oh no. And then, because I remember like hearing you following me and stuff, and then like riding all the next, because after that just traversed heaps to the finish. I was like,
He's not
Can we
there.
hear Potsy? And I kind of got to the finish and I was like waiting for ages. I don't know where fucking Potsy's gone. And then
Yeah.
it took me a while and I figured out that you.
And I had surgery
broke
over
your
there
wrist.
in, I think, Grenoble, and they put 2 casts up to my elbows. But the funny thing was, Sean had, well, no, it's not funny, but Sean McGarrell had broken both his wrists. I think it was at Leger, like a few weeks earlier. So we're both walking around, and everyone's just like, what have you guys been up to? And it's like, told about a car crash. But, yeah.
No explaining.
That was
Did you
that
have to fly back with those on as well?
Yeah, business class though. Thank you,
yeah.
Bupa Insurance for that one. Yeah,
Serious question.
flying
How
whenever
did you
gets
actually like wipe your ass and everything?
All because
like,
it's only to your elbow, so you can still bend.
were your fingers still like you could kind of use them a little bit? Honestly, like
Well, it's not like
fucked if you're like traveling.
Nah, it's only if it
sucks.
goes past your elbow, because then you can't
Yeah, true.
get there. But if it's below your elbow, you can still get there.
Oh man,
Nah, yeah, it was all good.
that would have.
But yeah, business class made flying. Yeah, it's never going to be the same again.
Have you had
it's
to
not the
swindle
same.
business class before, George? You
I
managed
have
to get it?
2 times just from upgrades.
Yeah.
And it's very good. But yeah,
Game
it's like
changer.
you take it when you like. Obviously, you take it when you can. You're frothing for it, but the next flight after sucks.
You can
Like,
full
as soon as
stretch
you
out.
go back to economy, you're just like, yeah. It's like you've just like slept in a bed. Like jet
Yeah.
lag's like not a thing. It's like
No.
you get there and you're like all good.
I was having like open steak sandwiches for my treats. Like the hostess
good.
obviously just knew I was like an insurance job, and they just like didn't care.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
cookies and all sorts. I was just
Yeah,
loving it, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something else. Eh?
And you like miss all the queues as well because you're
Yeah.
priority. So you just
Yeah,
away
true.
from you, just
But do you find yourself doing things you wouldn't normally do as well because you're in business class? So when I got it, it was on the way to Korea, and I like missed a flight, had to rebook it, and then I got it because it was overbooked. So I got business from China to Korea, and she brings out newspapers which I'd never read. But she's like, newspaper? And
cross your legs.
she was like, what would you like? Yeah, it has like heaps of variety, and it's like, the English translation of like the Korean newspaper. I was like, of course, yeah. I'm like,
Definitely.
Who do you think I am? Of course I read the
yeah,
paper.
all the time, yeah. Recline. And then, like, chopsticks on the plane. You want chopsticks? I'm like, flying business. Of course I use chopsticks.
I'm cultured.
Yeah. and then that also, ruins flying for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Actually,
The first few, especially after that, are just not fun.
Knees around your head.
Oh, yeah.
I actually got lucky the first year when I originally came to New Zealand. Somehow I managed to get a full empty row from my flight from England to US and US to New Zealand, empty row, whole way here.
That's pretty good.
When was that? Sorry,
That was when I first ever came to New Zealand.
Do you reckon?
That must have just been a sign of
Well, it's
everything
like-
was going to be good.
Yeah,
and
it's
There's
pretty
like,
how's
there's like
it
a
been?
green lights all the way. So
So the only times I've pretty much ever had that was during COVID. So 2020 and 2021 was like basically like a given that you're just getting like a full row. I remember when I flew back last year to Singapore, there was 20 people on my whole flight.
yeah,
And it was a big plane.
yeah.
I had a whole cabin of the plane to myself.
That's when you're like,
You reckon?
you must look at them and be
Insane.
like, you may as well put me in business class.
Yeah.
There's
honestly,
no one
I
in there.
honestly was just like, surely you can just like put me in one of those seats. It makes no difference. You don't have to give me the food. Just put me in the seat.
Yeah.
But like you do pretty much stretch out in those 3 seats.
Yeah.
I never had like a row of 4.
Do you reckon? But still, if you just had like a moon boot, just like as your carry on, and like before you get to the airport, you just chuck a moon boot on, there'd be a chance of being upgraded.
Oh,
I should have milked it.
it's
The
almost
second time I went to Korea.
camera and next minute you'll break your foot and then you're in a moon. But you're
Yeah.
like, fuck.
I don't know.
But no,
Play the system.
I had.
May as well.
Was I cast? No, I'd got surgery, so I wasn't moon boot anymore. But yeah, last time I went to Korea, I was at crutches and pretty much moon boot.
And did they upgrade you or not?
No upgrade.
You should've
But I
just
should have.
got-
Maybe if I milked it a bit, maybe I could have.
I can't.
Yeah.
Just faint or something.
Yeah.
But at the
Real
time, I'm
dramatic.
too proud at the time. It's only after, and I'm like, I should have done that. But at
Yeah.
the time, I'm, no, I'm good. Like, you do,
Yeah,
like when people
yeah,
hold
yeah.
doors when you got crutches, and it's a real bastard to get through a door. But somebody holds it for you, and you're like, what do you think I am? Like, I'm not a
Think
charity.
You think I
Yeah.
got crutches or something?
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Shut the door. I can do it. And then you
What's
take
that?
it takes you
Yeah,
2
yeah.
minutes to get through the door.
Yeah, it's a hassle. I was like that after I broke my collarbone, I think the first time, and I flew back to New Zealand, and I had 2 bikes and a bag, and the transition from Auckland International Terminal to domestic, where you guys know that
Yeah.
you have to walk like 10 minutes, and like there's some little curb crossings and stuff, and it was fucking miserable.
Bike boxes are bad just in general.
And they fell off at one point. And I was on my own trying to get them back on, and I just had this cast, not a cast, like the sling on. And at some point I kind of took that off, and I was like trying to lift it on with a broken collarbone. It was horrible.
There is a bus you can catch between those two terminals, eh?
Yeah, no, but I was just like,
because you can do it. I don't want to
fresh air. Yeah, I just didn't expect the boxes were going to fall off, but anyway, yeah, that was a bad idea.
Do you know what I hope? That when we die, you get like a highlight reel of your life. Like when you go up to heaven and he's like, all right, now you get to see it and you get to watch things like that and you're like...
It's a highlight
at the time. Well, no, it's not a highlight, but just like the embarrassing moments, things that you're just like, I wish I just want to see what I looked like in that moment. And there's like so many moments you've done something stupid and you're like, I wish I could just be like third person looking down, like you've been framed just like your whole life and something stupid that's happened to home.
Oh, there'd be a fair few moments.
Yours would be a pretty long reel way.
Speak for yourself.
We could just go on Wyndham.
I feel like any of us boys would be a pretty long reel.
Do you reckon you'll go back to Korea for your...
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Because you're in trail building, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I met the guy here.
South Korea, was it?
South Korea, yeah.
Sure.
But I went to the north. So here's a story while I was there. So we went up to like...
to the north? Oh.
No, we didn't go to the north, but we went to like the closest city.
Right.
Like, which is close to the border. We went up a mountain. I can't remember what it's called, but went up a mountain on the border, and you can see the border, and then you can see like North Korea on the other side, and it's obviously just like looks like a normal place. But anyway, so we came back down, and we were eating lunch, and there was like these like 6 like blasts and then vibrations, and I was like, it felt like a little earthquake, and I was like, what was that? And he's like, oh, it's probably just North Korea just flying, like shooting some missiles to like intimidate us or something.
Is that what they do? There's
just
for fun.
Seriously,
on the border,
keep people away from.
I don't know what the scenario would have been, but yeah, there was like 6 blasts in a row, and then like 6 like mini earthquake vibrations.
Low.
And he just was like, they'll probably just be doing like a missile fire or something to just, just always like assert their presence. Yeah, and then when I was
very blasé about that, because North Korea of all places the next thing probably would shoot you.
They wouldn't give a shit. Yeah, if you messed around. And when we went, I caught the bus. When I was leaving, I caught the bus back to the airport, and on every junction on the motorway, I was like, something started to catch my eye. I was like, was that a machine gun turret? It's like, no, surely not. Got to the next one, I was like, looked like one. Anyway, so the next junction, I was looking real close, and every single junction. I think there was like a military convoy or something at the time, but on every junction they had 2 men and a full machine gun set up at every junction on the motorway just in case something happened. Yeah, it's like ready to go.
That's like put things in perspective a bit. Like how lucky we are.
Yeah, so we got a pretty good bus. Korea is epic. It would be one of the best places to build heaps of tracks, because the whole country is just full. The whole thing is just like, when you look out into like Skipper's Canyon, it's just like those ridge lines everywhere. Yeah. So the whole country is like that, and it's just covered in trees. There's not like a single like bald patch. The whole thing's just like tree covered, full of ridge lines.
Cool.
And the dirt is wicked. You could build, and then it'd be so easy to build like wicked tracks there.
Should we move?
So sick. There you go. If my visa never came through for here, I would have called him and immigrated to Korea. Next, for sure. Yeah, it's wicked.
Really?
It's so good. Food's mint. People are so fun. It's cool.
Is there any
karaoke's everywhere?
I know
you'd be in heaven. You'd be in heaven.
Yeah.
Are there many people like internationals that live there? Did you meet any?
No, there's a few. No, there's a few. There's quite a lot of Russians there because I think Russia's like just above North Korea. I think. I'm not very good at geography, but I'm pretty sure North Korea. Russia's not far above it, so there's a lot of Russians there.
Yeah.
There's a few international, not heaps. There's a lot of Americans because there's a few American like military camps there. But the downhill scene's growing there quite a bit. Like the guy I was talking to, this was his first bike park. He started a second one. He also so the mountain carts at Cadrone is actually like the mountain carts themselves are like a franchise from Germany, I think. So it's not specific to Cadrone. Like they just ship those carts. So he's got exactly the same mountain carts as what Cadrone has. A couple of sites, and he also runs them in winter. They just go on snow
That's cool.
So absolutely,
That'd be
I'd
I'd rather do that
winter.
than ski.
well,
Yeah, honestly.
I'd rather ride those
so
mountain
sick.
carts on snow that dirks when you flip them.
Yeah, you can at least slide out.
So he's got those, and I think he's looking to open up another bike park. So he's opening like he might have already started a third one. Yeah,
Sorry, just backtracking here a little bit.
Was it with the lift, by the way?
Russia is huge.
it's massive. Yeah,
Yeah, it does. Like,
You
it
know
borders
that
China and... Well, no, I knew that. And then, like, right on the border.
it's going to be even bigger soon when they invade Ukraine.
Like, right... Yeah. Wow.
Next one, it will be the whole world will be Russia.
Yeah, at least you wouldn't have to worry about visas if everywhere was Russia.
That would be easy. Yeah. Wouldn't be any people left by that point, though. But
You're all drinking vodka. Well, actually, the Russians I met were all nice. They were quite good dudes, actually.
speaking of Korea, have you heard of that podcast, Joe Rogan and Naomi Park?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
I
Insane.
want to, though. It sounds nuts.
It's a place you do not want to visit.
Yeah.
And definitely do not want to live it. But
Unless you're Dennis Rodman.
insane. But did he...
Dennis Rodman went to North Korea heaps. He's like best mates with Kim Jong-un.
Actually?
Yeah.
I think I did see something about that.
Got honey dipped.
Fuck yeah. He was, yeah. Oh man. That's a messed up place, eh?
Yeah. So I don't know what will
Really
happen there,
messed up.
but South Korea is somewhere that's good to visit.
But
North
then,
Korea, I
like-
couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's some good places there too. Like, who knows? Wow.
Yeah.
You
Have
got
you heard the podcast?
Nah, but I guess the
It'll
podcast will
blow,
only
it'll blow
say-
your mind. If anyone's listened to those, I'd highly recommend watching the podcast, because that is probably the most insane thing I've ever heard. It's like fucked how a country can operate like that.
Yeah.
It's so fucked.
Yeah.
But anyway.
They probably look at what we do.
Oh. Yeah. They don't even know what's going on outside of North Korea, though.
No,
That's
they
the
don't.
problem. No
Well,
one,
when you
no
go
one even
to,
knows what's really going on.
When you transit through China, you can't even get Facebook.
You need a VPN.
It's so annoying, yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
to China a few times and
Oh, you did? You did that, what was it, kicking
I've done,
horse?
I've done 3 races over there, right?
Oh, were they kicking horse?
One with the Warhorse.
Warhorse.
Warhorse is
which
like the Red Bull equivalent, kind of. It's an energy
Right.
drink. One was a street race.
Warhorse.
One was like a, what is it? The National Geo Park or something. And it was like pretty cool. I loved it. Like, I couldn't say a bad thing about it. Everyone's
Mate.
real friendly. Like, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Asia,
It's,
do some riding and stuff there.
We'll talk
Yeah,
to
everyone was-
Discovery Channel and get them.
But the two guys that actually, I think, the Chinese, there's like a Chinese class, like an international class, and I think the Chinese guys that won got 2 flights, like a trip to Queenstown.
Oh,
sick.
It was like real cool, and
Yeah,
then
that's amazing.
COVID happened, so
Oh,
I don't
so
think
they're still
they-
due to come.
yeah.
Are you
So,
going to be
they
the tour
might.
guide when they get here?
well, I was happy to show them around, but I don't know if I think that probably would have sailed. It would have been a few years ago now. COVID.
Stitch up.
Yeah, went to the Great Wall and whatnot. It's cool.
Yeah, they look mean.
That would be cool to see.
So
Like,
which
that's
one of the
insane.
races was it
can't
that you
imagine,
done?
like,
There was 3. One was a street race in Shenzhen.
Yeah.
Awesome. There's like these. There's just like malls, like there's like
I think
stories and stories high, and every story is a different electronic. So like one story will just be drones, and you go
No
around
way.
and it's just all drones, and then the next story is just phone cases, and then the next story it's like and everything. I think it's like the electronic capital, because I'm pretty sure people must go there and be like, because we were just buying one-off things because we're just being idiots.
You guys
But I
got
think
all-
people must go there and be like, we want 10,000 of these, and they'll be like, oh,
Extras.
okay, we can give you a good price, but we're just like, can we have one? And they're just like, oh my god, what a hassle. But like, yeah, it was pretty. But like,
I remember you guys came out with those little drones.
yeah, we like tried to get into a taxi and stuff, and you're just like pointing where to go, and then it's like they just shrug their shit. Like nobody speaks English. Like why should they?
Obviously,
Why should
yeah.
they?
Yeah.
This is such a. We just
It's
end up
kind of the
calling-
same with the Chinese coming here. Like
yeah.
no one obviously speaks Chinese.
Exactly, yeah.
And they're just like that's why, and you can
course.
understand why they stay in like tour buses and have like stay in groups because
Yeah.
it's like they have one person that can translate for them and show them around. Like
I feel like we're quite
otherwise they just get
bad
lost.
in that aspect, like English speaking. Like
We're quite
you kind of just
entitled.
entitled to expect people to speak English, and
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
we should be definitely like forced to learn another language. Like
The one
Not
thing
yet.
where I
It'd be
back
good
is
if there was another international language.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
it needs to be like one like second language for everyone. But the one thing
Yeah.
where I back is on the English speaking side of things is you do still see like English words everywhere when you go overseas.
Yeah.
But you don't come here and see like any other language anywhere unless you go to a specific shop.
Yeah,
That's
you
the only
sometimes see in just touristy places like here, you'll see Chinese words, and you'll see it at the Auckland airport and stuff. At airports, so it's kind of the same. Like you'll see it at some places here and at airports.
If you could learn a language, what language would it be?
The language of love.
Oh,
no.
French it is.
No, I think Chinese would be probably quite good.
Mandarin.
Maybe some,
It'd be very different, wouldn't it? I just like Italian people, and the Italian language is quite cool. I reckon Italians are just good sorts, eh?
I like the French accents, real funny, eh? But I don't think...
That's awesome. Bonjour.
Bonjour, no. I probably don't sound very French, but Mandarin would probably be the most like useful, I reckon.
Yeah.
If you like. Yeah. Wow. Only if you're traveling.
It depends what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
For like
but it
going
would be a
over
good party
racing.
trick.
Yeah, it would be.
Even if you never went to...
Or Spanish. Because it kind of covers like lots of people kind of...
Spanish like more spoken numbers-wise than English?
I think French is the number one.
No, I think it's Spanish, not French. It might be.
Because like you've got...
France.
You've got France, Canada...
Oh yeah,
and
New Caledonia.
New Caledonia, things
New
like
Caledonia. But then
like Belgium, half of Belgium is like...
I might sound real dumb here, but isn't Spanish like... No, I'm not going to say it.
Like South America?
Spanish is like
like
heaps
it's
of
like
South America.
it's slightly different.
That's
South
why I'm
American.
pretty sure Spanish is the number one. I might be wrong. Should we Google it? Well, I'll Google it later.
Well, you've got
check
like
it out later.
Brazil's Portuguese though. Brazil's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's either Spanish or Mandarin or something. I don't know.
I'm going to back myself and stick
Mandarin's
with French.
Oh.
Go on, look at it.
We'll turn it off flight mode because we've turned flight mode on here, but we'd be interested to know.
So Potsy's off to Canada, Whistler.
I am. I'm escaping Queenstown after I don't know if people know, but I used to race and then I got over it and did a building apprenticeship and got qualified, and me and my partner were planning on going to Europe for like a whole year pretty much, and then COVID happened, so we stayed in Queenstown for another 2 years, and finally the borders have opened, so we decided we'll skip Europe this year and we'll go Canada. I'm keen to go Whistler for maybe a week, but actually go exploring some other places.
Okay.
I want to go to like Vancouver Island and like Coastal Gravity Park, up to some peaks.
You're not going to stay and do Crankworks over there and start the dual slalom career early?
Oh, I probably will be there for Crankworks, but I'm not. I don't know. I might do the odd event, but I'm kind of just keen to go riding with new people and new places, mix it up, kind of get Queenstown's awesome, but when you've been riding here for the past 4 or 5 years.
What was your favourite place when you were travelling World Cups?
It's a tough one. World Cup track wise, probably because it was my best result, would probably be Norway. But just riding with your mates, having the time of your life, Schledming.
That's somewhere I've never been, which I'll put that on my list.
Yeah, because I raced Val de Sol and couldn't keep my feet on, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So
flat pedals back then.
Yeah, flat pedals, and then I made the conversion to clips, and I learnt in Schledming where the dirt is just so good, you just don't take your feet off anyway. It's just like, well, it's probably like the best place to learn. And then, then you go to another track, and it's Schledming. With a bunch of your friends after a little bit of rain. And Peeler.
Did you? So you did right. Yeah, that same
I like
thing. It's like
the track down from Peeler to
Aylster.
The Aylster Valley one is so sick.
What we
and
got?
Even so back to the language thing. So it obviously depends native versus like people who speak it worldwide. But English is the most spoken because other people speak 2 languages, and then Chinese, Hindi, Spanish, and then French.
Oh, 1 point for George.
Close. It's 420 million, I guess, versus French was 370.
Oh, so quite a bit of a gap.
Still, there's more French speaking than others, but it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I'm also going to go to hopefully Bellingham and catch up with all the guys at Transition, because apparently Bellingham is insanely good riding. Yeah. It's obviously not Canada, but cross over the border, and I'm keen to go there for like a week.
I have no idea.
Is it northeast?
Which state?
Just below. Is it below Seattle or between Seattle and Vancouver?
Northeast of America.
Yeah. It's quite close. It's only like.
Is that where Kona is as well? I think.
I know Evil's there. I'm not sure about Kona.
Might be a few.
Yeah, I think
countries over there.
But all the videos.
Isn't Pivot from there?
Who?
Pivot? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Don't think so. But I know, I just know Eve will transition. But yeah, just cruise around, buy a van, have fun.
That'll be sick.
Yeah.
You need to get a van and like put a bed and stuff in it, or just
just a plywood bed in the back, because we're out there for 6 weeks, and then we're going to go surfing in Tofino, aren't we, George?
We are, yes.
Get barreled.
Sharkabra, if there's any waves in the middle of summer, but go for a little week holiday or a few days. It's just a few days in Tofino, right?
Yeah.
3-4 days.
Yeah.
For awesome for that, eh?
Yeah.
Never been to Tofino, so keen as to see.
So, you guys got any more collab videos planned coming up?
We haven't got any plan. We've said we'd like to do another one.
Yeah, I'm keen. We just
Yeah.
had to pitch it to the E13. We're both on E13. That's probably like our
There
main,
you go.
Oh,
our
nice.
Main
combined.
co-sponsors.
The last one we had nobody that was like
Yeah, we had
everything we
nothing.
had just conflicted. So no one's like keen to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get behind this video. But
That's true,
great.
yeah.
Something to with E13, but it'll probably be, I guess, early next season, mate. This year, by the time George is leaving soon. To get
Yeah, I'm
racing.
leaving in 3 weeks, so
Yeah.
can't even do one of the other edits I wanted to do this summer because it's a stitch up because we had that first World Cup, but we had like a team camp with testing, small race, bit more of a team camp, and then the World Cup. So I was gone for like a month, and that month is after all the national races, and that's like the time of year I'd normally do an edit, and then just was away the whole time.
Ran out of time.
And then came back, and then two of the, obviously Conet and Cardi's had just closed, so that takes out 2 massive chunks of where you can film. So I was just like,
And to be
have to do
fair,
it next summer.
it's quite funny. Me and George's riding programs only cross over at a very fine time of the year because
Yeah, this is
George,
true.
in his defence, is over racing. It's his job. He's riding all winter. And I'm sitting at home like, when's winter going to end? I want to ride my bike.
Yeah.
And then like George flies back and he's like, sweet, I'm having 2 months on my bike. I'm just doing me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all I want to do is ride my bike for those 2 months.
Yeah, well, because
And
But
then
you
it
did-
gets
you
to
might
like
touch it,
January, and then this in the past I've kind of been like I won't like train
yeah.
specifically or anything, but every now and then I'll go for a trail ride or maybe go for some laps with some of the boys. But like I don't know, I think the season before I hadn't really stopped in the off season because we had a new bike and testing, and the season finished late, and then straight back into nationals, and I was just so keen for like a break from the bike. So I was like strictly no bikes for 2 months, and I got home and there was so many occasions where like everyone was like, "Oh, like just come for a trail ride." So I was like, "Nah."
Yeah.
Did you
Not
find it
touching my
hard,
bike.
or was it all good?
Not at all. And
That's
it was probably like one of the best things I've done in a while. It was so refreshing. Not that you like don't like riding your bike, but it's like you just need to get the froth back, and especially when you're just doing it, like going through the paces,
I've
going through the motions. So like I was like didn't touch my mountain bikes at all or any bikes for 2 months. I just rode moto and surfed.
Yeah,
And
I've been loving
worked
surfing.
Worked a casual day job for a couple of hours a day or a few hours a day to help out a mate, and cruised, and it was fucking lit.
I can probably with you in your moto, Jimmy. I can do like a new hobby's always like real refreshing, eh? And
Yeah.
sort of
So
when you're right,
refreshing,
like Queenstown, you're just kind of immersed with bikes 24/7 all the time.
You
It's
feel
nice.
bad
Yeah.
because again, you probably don't notice the days when people aren't riding bikes, but you just feel like every single day people are riding bikes. So if you take a week off,
You feel like
you're
you missed
like,
out.
I haven't rode my bike in so long, but compared to anyone else around the world, they only get to ride the bike probably once a week at the most on the weekend.
That's
Yeah,
so
it's
And that's
true.
it.
Yeah.
Whereas we get to ride it every day, and I think I've talked to a lot of people. I think this year especially, I think because normally people would go overseas, and even though you're still riding your bike, you get that new environment, so you kind of get refreshed in that way. Then you come back kind of ready to ride Queenstown again.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, everyone stayed here, and even though the riding in Queenstown is like
World class.
world class, the variety is
Insane.
like the best.
Mm.
And then, it's just awesome. But even though it's so good, when it's all you've got to ride, it doesn't matter how much you love riding, you do get burnt out. But when you feel like everyone else is doing it, and you feel like if you're not, you're slacking, which I think a lot of people do. I think people have actually found that quite hard, and I can see it. Like there's a lot of people that I think feel that aren't professional, that are just doing it for fun, but they're even burnt out because that's
So it's only my mates are like, by the end of the summer here or the season here, are like just done with riding.
Yeah.
Even like before the season finishes, some of the boys, you guys have noticed, it's just like, I don't even want to ride the bike.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I'm going overseas to start the season.
Yeah.
So that's when like some people are like, oh, when you ride your bike when you get back? And you're like, fuck, I've been riding. You feel like you're being a bit spoiled sometimes with it, but you're like, it's a lot of riding and it's an intense amount of it. So I'm just frothing for a chill when I get back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so much riding to do here.
So,
It's that
yeah.
people just like do it all the time.
Living in Queenstown, yeah, was like, well, yeah, not like enough. We got lucky, but we've chosen to sort of all move here because we love riding our bikes. But
We're in a good place.
it's so good, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
It's a sick place. I say it's like an
Right.
adult's playground.
Yeah.
It's not just riding. There's so much
Even
good
just-
shit to do here.
like the kids are like the juniors that are going to come out of Queenstown. I reckon they're like
Oh,
next
yeah.
4, 5, 6 years with like the Vertigo Ride More series, like Pang and
Yeah.
those guys. Like they can either go into racing. They've got big dream.
Yeah.
It's gonna be free. Like it's gonna be
There's
pretty.
so
cool.
many options. Yeah, there's already a lot of sick riders, like the little
Under
under
15s.
15s.
Malik and Lewis
Pocket.
Lead times.
Yeah.
Do you see where they stacked up?
Yeah,
Lewis Lead, I think he's 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Well,
think
he
he
got
got
like a 30 or
15.
something.
yeah.
I think he got,
He's tiny too.
yeah,
Yeah.
in expert man, and then Malik was,
He's flying.
I think
too,
he was
eh?
top 10, and he's under 15, so he's like 14.
Yeah, they're not even under 17s.
Yeah.
And they're like in under 19s, when it's like they've
They're
got
not- yeah.
years. If
And
they
there's
can
been
stay out
wild,
of the nightlife in Queenstown, they'll be away laughing.
Yeah, that's definitely as it is a problem for a lot of people when they get into their teens.
Yeah.
But like Queenstown's probably easy for
See
them
your
to
mates
just
having the time,
slip
but,
up
like,
and
Yeah.
yeah.
don't let yeah.
The funny thing is like you almost got to remind kids that you can see going that way. It's like
Your whole
you'll
life.
always look back if you like go
Regret
off
it.
the rails. You always look back and be like, fuck.
But I think there's enough people in Queenstown and like the old like the Emersons and like the like mentors are like kind of push them in the right direction. Be like,
Yeah.
don't be an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
got something pretty good going here. Like you can be riding your
Yeah.
bike for a living if you just keep.
And it's
And-
like
and the
it's
Bergamot
not
team's
to
no
say
longer
that
around,
like
so.
everyone who rides.
Just don't let them hang out with Eddie.
Well, actually saying that, the Bergamot team, you'd either...
Oh, Reece Wilson was on it.
yeah, Reece Wilson,
World
world champ,
champ.
Yeah, yeah.
or you'd...
Jack Moyer, world champ.
Well, yeah, Jack Moore,
I take that back.
So but you go both ways. You either go like Paddy, nothing against Paddy. But
Hey, he's been to university. He's got an engineer's degree,
Yeah.
hasn't he? But
Fair enough.
Yeah,
and
that's-
when he was on it,
Go
it was
off
good.
the
that's
rails,
insane.
so, like,
the
survive.
Bergamot team, 2 world champs.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow,
can
a World
pick-
Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's almost
Cup
like there's
winner,
your
yeah.
filtering pro. If you could have made it through the Bergamot team, you became a world champ.
That's
Eddie-
where you,
Eddie
you
was
learn the
the-
balance.
yeah,
if you make
Eddie-
it through, you learn the balance.
That's.
There's some lessons to be learned
Well,
from
Eddie,
Eddie.
Eddie's like
He's a wise
he's the
guy.
coach. He's in the middle.
He was in the
Yeah.
running for the EW Sober, wasn't he, for that year? Until he did
Yeah.
his wristing.
Mm.
Yeah, he was what, second, third, or
He was
something.
right, I
at
thought
the
he was like battling it with one other dude, and
He
he
was
Yeah.
right up there. I couldn't remember.
blew up.
He was top 3, I think. It was.
Yeah.
You know, one of EWS race. He was killing it. Old Iggy, eh?
So we'll probably wrap this up because it's been an hour and a half. But
Yeah.
I was trying to think of things like before we start. I was like, what sort of things do we have in common? What can we talk about? Can you think there's? I think we're the only guys as well. But there's one thing that all three of us got in common. That
I
no
know
one
already.
else-
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I won't be doing it again.
No,
I don't think it's doable.
It's
unless
changed a bit,
unless
yeah.
you're keen to go there and
Um,
bench it a little bit.
That is,
I
still
really
reckon,
I want to do it again.
hands down the scariest gap. Well, no, we haven't told them what it is.
So
Yeah, you
we'll
go
give
to
them
me.
some context. You tell
the
them.
Grundy routes. We're talking about the Grundy
Yeah.
Rowdy routes.
Yeah.
Horrific.
But I've never felt so high off the ground in my life.
yeah,
it's like a drop.
yeah.
It feels like you're just like really dropped off like a 3-story building.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
to this
people that are
little knuckle.
listening though, it is
It's-
like turning blind, and you are
Upwards
falling
lip.
like 3. Well, it's not 3. That's an exaggeration. Maybe 2 stories.
It's like a
you take
solid
off,
2 stories.
and you're just falling, and it's because you're not going fast. You literally you take off, and you're literally just falling
Yeah.
into this like bike length for landing, and then you just like head slap, and then
Yeah.
you're just trying to slow down for the next bit.
Unless you're
Yeah.
George. I think George,
He
out
whipped
of
it,
us,
didn't he?
you're the only one that actually made it to the down
Yeah, I
side.
did. In the end, I did get the knuckle. Yeah.
Whereas
It was
we
like-
have landed probably about half a bike length too short.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
my
yours-
second attempt, it was a full
Oh,
bike.
that was scary. Yeah.
But to my
I
credit, out of us three, I'm the only guy to do it in the wet.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Twice.
Yeah. Twice.
I've
was
never
it?
done it in the dry. I did it in the wet tight.
Well, you can have that one.
But the only reason
must
I
be
did
British.
it is because you were... Because I knew you were going to do it, and I wanted to do it before you, and the only chance I thought I was going to have was on a wet day, so I just did
Wasn't that the race you did?
No, when I crashed was at the race, but I did it... So it was a day when Skyline opened at 2 o'clock because it was raining that hard in the morning. And it was my day off, and I was like, I'd already decided the day before I was going to do it that day, and I was like, the rain, I was like, I don't give a shit. Anyway, I went down, and I think Cap was working, or he'd gone because he knew that like you'd been there.
Yeah.
I'd been there. I think he was just like looking at it for whatever reason. And I turned up on my first lap to eye it up, and he's like, Jimmy, don't do this gap. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I am definitely doing it now. So I think I did a lap, and I came back around, and I set my phone up filming. So I was just by myself. Yeah, I set
You
my
did that
phone
while
up recording.
that's another level.
That's sketchy.
And it took me like 4 or 5 run-ins.
Fucking hell.
And I've had this like only like 2 times in my life, and there's something like you really want to do, but you're so scared, and it almost like feels like there's people screaming, and you can't even hear anything because you're like so scared. There's like people are screaming in your head, and what I thought the run-in before I did it is I was like...
Because it's turning as well, it's just like, oh.
Or I just said, all I'm going to do is just going to turn my brain off, I'm going to pull up, and once I'm in the air, then you can start thinking again.
Because you literally are just falling, Because I think
it's
I
funny how
did
it
a few
works,
times because Scott was filming.
Yeah.
And like there was that lily pad, and the first time I landed on the lily pad, and it was all good, and then like, I slowly got further. And I think one time I like was a tire length short, but I was like, sweet, done. I'm done. We got the shot. I'm out of here. Like to do that by yourself is something else.
I only did it 2 times as well, and then I was like, yeah.
To be fair, I think George won the whole. I remember seeing a photo. You're pretty much like whipping. Wow, I don't know if it was the angle.
Yeah,
like you're whipping.
The
it.
second time it like I didn't intend to, but it worked that way. I kind of just like came in and I just had it way better than the first time, and yet kind of like whipped it out.
You need to actually start making your things look harder because you make it. You don't. The video of me and Reece hitting it compared to the video of you, it looks like you hit something totally different because we make it look
that's a talent though, Jimmy. You got the because people don't want to see something done smoothly. They want to see
true. They need the
rugged. They want to make it look right. I should have just done some shit attempts before or something.
Or just like slip your head up and down when you land or something.
Oh my god, in the air!
Wow.
But the day when I crashed, I was doomed because for one, it was actually slightly slippier than the first time I did it.
Yeah, it was the rocks in the flat right corner that's where you got your speed from, where you had to carry your speed, more like it. So yeah, that's like I'm surprised you even went for it. I was like, fuck
well,
that.
I told myself so that was Oceana's, and I said if I was having a rubbish run, I wasn't going to bother. But I was like, and this is when I was riding quite good, and I actually thought I could win that race, but I was like, I'm not going to win this race without doing the routes. And I came to there and everything had just been dialed, and I was like, looks like we're pulling up. Anyway, but because it was a bit wetter, rather than going, I think it must have only been like a foot or half a foot higher than what I did when I did the first time, but because I still landed in the same spot, I came down.
I guess you were coming in slower and pop.
You popped high, but I didn't go any further. I landed in the same spot, and if you watch the video back in slow motion, but my peak, I hit my head off my bars, pushed my peak down like this. So even if I had somehow rode it out, my peak still covered my eyes, so I couldn't see anything anyway. And then obviously flipped the handlebars, got knocked out, and
I was sweeping that race
because
I just come. That was like my first kind of riding thing. I have to break my femur.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so I was sweeping.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that.
That
was a sick track. That was run for that.
Yeah,
I remember it was like. It wouldn't even be any slower, I reckon, doing the lily pad, like just the shorter, like just landing just past the
street credit, George.
It was the street credit.
The street credit, yeah. But for the race, it's just funny that you're like, I got to pull.
Yeah, no, it was for ego. It wasn't for speed. It was for. I was like, I want to be the guy that won and gapped it.
When's Jimmy gonna start making those gaps?
Never. There's a couple of things. Actually, I'm kind of tempted. I've seen everyone doing backflips. I'm like, maybe that might make a comeback, but. There's a couple of things which I decided I was like pretty happy just to pull pin on, and like doing big gaps, unless I'm feeling good. But I think
that's the only thing is like you have to be feeling so good on the bike to do them. Otherwise, like through the period of when I had been injured a bunch of my collarbone, I don't think I did any gnarly gaps. Yeah, because it's just like it's scary as fuck.
I'm getting old. I'm trying to sort of weasel out of the gaps market and move into a POV market.
So you can't say as long as you're younger than me, and as long as I'm still doing them, you got to do them.
Yeah, Some of those ones you did last year were on another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon the one at Cardi's is probably the scariest gap I've ever done.
That was nuts.
It's not even like
And
the
do you know
biggest or hardest, but it was so
being mean,
fucking
George.
dodgy.
The way you filmed it looked like nothing.
We couldn't get a spot to show the angle. You needed to be on the other side, but everything was like below, so it was like you were just looking up. So we were just like, fuck, we couldn't find a good spot. I reckon if we went back and really like tried, look, there's got to be some angle. But yeah, I filmed it and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
It was like the scariest gap I've ever done, and it was just like you couldn't even see. It didn't look like much.
You just have no reference.
Nah, not at all.
And like after that whole video we did, like it didn't didn't get heaps of views, but the one video George got of me when we were doing that roof jump and literally we were doing it and was having a laugh and George was like he just literally was like on his phone and just filmed me once. And I posted that up like after the video like a month later and it got like 3 million views or something on Instagram and it's like it just blew up, went full viral. And it's like. Yeah, it was kind of gnarly because it'd never been done before, but like once you've done it once,
and it was like different as well. It was like that was like definitely not the hardest.
No way. Like,
it was the only thing that we were like the gap wasn't hard. We were just worried that we'd land and slide.
The roof's actually steeper than what it looks on the video.
Yeah, and
that too. Yeah, but the thing is like we've never like gapped onto a metal corrugated roof. So we're not sure if we'd like slide. It turned out it was actually real grippy. Like rubber to dry metal was actually real grippy. But we were thinking we might land on the off camera and just slip and like off the roof. You'd be fucked.
That would have made it. That probably would have got 4 million views actually.
I came up a little bit short on the first one.
Man.
So
onto the roof?
Yeah, it's like the flashing's all like I hit it.
So the corner of the roof, the edge, just cased and dented it in. But like, remember that? So you really didn't want to do it, and I was still just like, no, we're gonna do it, Potsy. I was like, gonna do it, and then I eventually I was just like, fuck it, and I just came around the corner and did it.
And so easy.
And Potsy was like, I remember you were like, fuck's sakes, now I gotta do it. You were so not keen, and then you just dented the fuck out of the roof.
And then I did it again. I was like,
yeah. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah. After the clip, I'm like, did that kind of look alright? And Paul's is like, nah, it looks shit. I'm like, damn.
Loved it. Nah, it looks shit. Oh, that's funny.
I reckon that's fun filming with mates, pushing each other.
It was heaps fun. Yeah. I like filming anyway for like if it's something for like an edit that you're like real keen on and like invested in, then I like filming. But with a mate is even better.
Yeah. And like you say, if you're like almost forced to film something, you kind of like
well, if it's like just cringy sort of just stuff to sell something is like not cringy just to sell, but you know what I mean, like stuff that's like just organic product or whatever. Organic things that it's just like just what you want, like your style of writing and shit. That's you froth filming. Yeah. But yeah, we should get that speed radar out.
Yes, we should
from the edit.
I reckon we do it into the whoops.
That's originally what we got it for. Yeah. But I think it was before we decided to do an edit, wasn't it? We wanted to get that.
We wanted to jump into the whoops. We wanted to come down that full drive track and gap off the back of the berm. And then it became into autumn and all the leaves dropped and it got real wet.
Now it's changed.
Especially with that speed coming in, you'd be like, as you're turning a little bit through the whoops anyway, if you had any... I hate to even think if you came in hooking.
Well, the biggest thing is anyone that's tried to pull a manual through there because they're turning, that's when people always get
Because it turns more than you think.
At last minute, it just like throws your front wheel down too. Yeah. But a speed trap into some whoops would be sick. Where else has like good whoops? It's pretty much just there,
Yeah.
Someday.
Well, we'll finish on that, eh?
Yeah. Cheers for having us.
That was good. Thanks, boys. Thanks for coming back, George, and all the best with the rest of the World Cups.
Cheers, mate.
And Potsy, enjoy your holiday, mate.
Oh, well.
Retired.
No. We've got a couple.
Potter.
I've got a couple videos.
You are getting pretty old.
Good.
Couple videos. But
you must be aging faster than me.
You got more grey hairs.
Wisdom ticks.